Hello? Why? About how... Why? Why are you so vicious? I get Logan really likes it and I'm happy to continue when... Oh my god. Hello, how are you? I hope you're good. We don't go the same places that we used to go. I'm a little bit under the weather, so if I'm sounding a little bit sluggish or quieter or less fun, it's because of that. That being said, I am very excited to show you the books. There are a couple of categories to this haul. So I have some speculative works, because you guys know that is one of my favorite things. Then I went ahead and looked for some school settings. As you probably know, my channel previously used to be very heavily based on Harry Potter, and since reading The Poppy War and Red Rising to an extent, I just realized how much I actually miss having the school setting in the books, and I also realized that I don't necessarily actively seek that out. Not to mention that my other adult favorite series is The Name of the Wind, which is also with a school university setting. So I just thought I'll get a couple to, feel it out and see if maybe I'd have a bit more fun reading those books. I have a couple of thrillers, a couple graphic novels, a couple non-fiction, and I actually even have a couple of middle grades, which is very unusual. Hey! Okay, so let's start with the thrillers. First I have We Are All the Same in the Dark. This is a psychological thriller about a brother of a sister who has gone missing, and even though he was cleared, technically he was kind of condemned in the public eye, and the guy actually comes across or finds another girl years later by the side of the road, and she's lost, and he takes it as a sign that maybe this is his chance to kind of redeem himself and find his sister. That leads him to meet this detective, also is kind of threading carefully to investigate into that thing. Obviously, as thrillers go, we don't want to know too much, so that's all I kind of know. I think I will like a psychological thriller. Sometimes I'm really just in the mood for that, so we have this, and because this is my channel, we are going to look at how it looks naked. It simply has the blue foil on the dust jacket. You're welcome. Oh no! Ah, this is the second time it happens to me. I got no exit. This one is in Spanish, I think. Why? Why is that the second time it happens? Maybe it's not too late to return it. I had these for a while until I could film. So I might return this. So this is about a stop where a couple of people are stranded during a snowstorm, and the girl actually finds, I believe, another girl, a kid, in a cage, and then is trying to see what the hell is happening. So there might be a little bit about kidnapping, and I know that this is supposed to be like a page turner. Next one is Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. This is the author of the Gone Girl, which I actually never read. I have, however, seen the movie and I did enjoy it. This seems to be kind of centered around a toxic family where a main character goes back to her hometown and to her mother, I believe, and she has a younger half-sister, and while she's trying to investigate a disappearance of two girls, as per, I feel like that is such a big theme in thrillers, she keeps stumbling across just dead ends and realizes, because something happens, that in order to solve this, she'll have to actually look within her family and solve what the hell is happening there. So she will have to unravel the puzzle of her own past if she's to survive this homecoming. So it's kind of like a family-centered thriller. So this one I actually got before, but I don't think I've ever hauled it, but it's called The One, and it's another one of the recommendation video where you guys recommend your best thrillers, and then I just gather the data and said what the recommendations are. I will link the videos for that. I think I have the thrillers and I have the adult fantasy. I will do more. Have not forgotten about it, but if you're looking for some recommendations, I'll link them down below. This one definitely intrigued me, so I got it, I think, probably right after that video. But the one is about a utopian world where you get a swab and it can actually put you in a database where they would match you genetically and perfectly calibrated to a soulmate. And now we're following 5 people or 5 pairings that get paired up, and however, no matter the fact that they're supposed to be perfect for one another, they are all holding some secrets that they do not disclose. And so it's kind of like a thriller mixed with speculative fiction, and it just sounds like a really good time, and I really need to remember that now that I got a little bit more on my Kindle, I need to just remember, because I'm like a child, it's like out of sight, out of mind. I need to remember to check the Kindle when I'm getting my TBR set, because there's so many titles now here that I want to look at. The next one is If We Were Villains. If I understand correctly from the synopsis, this seems to be a story about a cast of a Shakespeare play students that playing their role a little bit outside of the play as well. And I think it is a person retelling the story to the detective that put him in jail for a crime he may or may not have committed, which is a murder of one of the fellow cast members. And it says the rest face their greatest acting challenge yet, convincing the police and themselves that they are blameless for the death of their fellow actor. Home Before Dark is a horror thriller. This seems to be focusing on a woman who has inherited... It's about a woman who has lived in this Victorian house with her family, and then she's moved away, and once she inherits it, she actually finds I believe the notes of her father, and her father has written all of these accounts of what spooky stuff's been happening in the house. I don't think she believes the stories, but she takes the opportunity to publish a book about it. And then she actually, while she was renovating there, she starts experiencing spooky stuff in the house too, and then little by little, I'm sure she starts believing her father. The Guest List is your murder mystery type of situation where the main thing is, sorry. What are you gonna do? The guests arrive for the wedding in this island, and soon after the cake is cut, one of the people turn up dead, and they all have a motive, they all have secrets, so it's not quite clear who it is. But of course, there's a massive storm, no one can leave, and someone else, from what I understand, will die. So that is the thrillers. And then, as I mentioned, I got 2 graphic novels or comics. So I got volume 5 of the Rat Queens, and Rat Queens is like your usual D&D kind of adventure. However, the whole cast of the main characters are female. There's a lot of goodness in here. There's a lot of not PG jokes as well, so it's not really for kids by no means, but it's really fun. I really like it. Logan really likes it, and I'm happy to continue when... Oh my god. So very happy to continue. Hopefully I'm gonna get to this one quite soon. The next one is actually called Die, and this sounds like a very, very dark version of Jumanji. And when I saw this, I was immediately intrigued. This is like kind of fulfilling some of these books are fulfilling that. Yeah, fulfilling my prompt, so I actually seek out books that I've not seen online personally. In the 90s, 6 teenagers are kind of whipped away into this role-playing fantasy game, but only 5 return. And this is set nearly 30 years later, and it says these broken adults are dragged back to discover the game isn't finished with them yet. I'm very excited to read this. It sounds amazing. I love that kind of plotline. Very, very, very excited. I love the trope of being stuck in a game. Super excited about that one. Okay, let's move on to some sci-fi and some speculative stuff. So we have The Brilliance, or just Brilliance, actually, I'm not quite sure. Brilliance, or the brilliant, are the people with extremely special abilities that are just kind of found in certain places. For example, there is a little girl who can read people's darkest secrets by the way that they fold their arms. There is a guy who can predict and read a stock market to just get like $300 million like this. A woman who's able to turn invisible if no one's looking at her, that kind of stuff. I think the main character is called Nick Cooper, who is a federal agent, but his gift rendering him exceptional at hunting terrorists. But his latest target is a brilliant whose intent is provoking civil war. And that sounds really nice. I have seen some very mixed reviews when I was looking at the reviews, so I don't have too high of hopes, but it sounds like something I would personally enjoy reading about, so I guess we'll see about that one. This next one is called Remote Control, and I'm extremely excited about it because the premise sounds... This is following a artificial intelligence, I think. I thought she was, but I'm not sure. It could be a girl. But basically, Death comes to visit, hires her, our main character, as the assistant. So she can kill by touch and she can destroy things. Ugh, sis. And she can destroy the whole towns if she wanted to. But she walks alone except for her fox companion, searching for the object that came from the sky and gave itself to her when the meteor fell and when she was yet unchanged, searching for answers. And it sounds amazing. This is, I think, by the same author who wrote Binti. I found Binti okay. I wasn't too impressed with it, but I want to seek out a bit more from the author to see if I like that better. And this one just sounds amazing, so I'm very excited about that one. Another one I'm so extremely excited about, it's called The Space Between Worlds. I wanted a hardcover of this, but everything was sold out, I think, so I just went for a Kindle. The reason I'm extra excited about this is because it deals with multiverses, one of my, if not my favorite tropes. My favorite anime of all time is Steins Gate. Would highly recommend if any of you want to watch something amazing. So this is following our main character, Kara. The way that I understand this world works is that you can only travel between multiverses and parallel universes is possible, but you can only do that if your counterpart in that particular multiverse or timeline is not alive. Of 380 realities that have been unlocked, Kara is dead in all but 8. And then I think another one dies, and then she's got thrown into that universe, and she's discovering some secrets about the shifty way that they're being targeted, is what I'm thinking, maybe. And then she has to go and find out what's happening before she is herself threatened. Oof, so excited. So excited about this one. Not entirely certain this is supposed to be in the same category, but I'm putting it here either way. This is about Piranesi, who lives in the house with a capital H. And they take notes about their doings. I think there's something else called The Other that sometimes they meet and give some offerings to. But other than that, they just live in the house and they are just living. Nothing really happens. But one day, some mysterious messages start appearing showing that someone else is in the house, and its secrets must be uncovered. The world that Piranesi thought he knew is becoming strange and dangerous. I'm very excited to read this. It's not the longest of books as well, so that's quite nice. And, ooh, that is such a cool cover. See, this is why you need to undress stuff. That's how the cover looks like. That's so cool. I think this is going to be very interesting and unique, and I'm excited to read it. So this I too have not seen anywhere else, and it's called The Book of Coley. It's perhaps not the best thing to read during a pandemic, so I might wait it out a little bit, but it says everything that lives hates us. Beyond the walls of the small village of Mythenrud lies an unrecognizable landscape, and it's basically about a small village that is surrounded by forests that people think when you go out, it kills you. I think it's like small spores or something that kill people. Holly is the main character. He believes the first rule of survival is that you don't venture too far beyond the walls. He is wrong. So it sounds a bit like slight horror, dystopian kind of thing. Is it a dystopian? I think so. Next one came in this really weird ass size, and I hate that. I obviously know it's not a big deal, but ugh. It's Prey by Michael Crichton. So I do not actually intend on reading Jurassic Park. It's just not, I don't think it would be my jazz. I don't like the movies. I know it's different, but I tend to stay away from like animal centering stories because I can't deal with that. I can't deal with that. I get too attached. But I have tried to read his other novel that was called either Timeline or Timelines. I can't remember. I got like 60% through, and then I gave up because it turned in a little bit onto something that focused more on the historical side of things rather than on the actual time travel side of things. Whilst that's totally fine, it was just not what I wanted at that time. I might return to it still, I don't know. I did enjoy the first half quite a bit. So this is also a speculative one. It's about Jack Foreman, who is finding things a little bit odd recently. His kids are telling him that some strange men are coming to visit. His wife is saying that something feels odd, and deep in the Nevada desert, the laboratory where Julie works, the wife, things are a little bit out of control. They have been producing those microbots that are designed to learn and are developing with a frightening speed. They actually discovered that they have I guess, by accident have programmed those microbots to behave as predators and things escalate. So it sounds like fun. Let me know if you have read this one and what you thought. I do want to give this author another go because I did actually enjoy the writing style. I just did not enjoy the story because I was wanting something else at that time from it. So, you know, it's not the book's fault at all. It's maybe a little bit of marketing fault. I'm not quite sure. Speaking of time travel, we have Before the Coffee Gets Cold, another one that I just kind of stumbled across when I was looking for things. This is about a small coffee shop in Tokyo where you come in and you sit and you drink your coffee and you actually get to travel back in time and relive or change in your mind and see what would happen if you a point in time where you have regrets. I believe that's the point. And there are very many strict rules apparently about it, about how you go about traveling and when you need to come back. It doesn't change, I don't think, your reality when you do come back, but it's just to see stuff. So it's a little bit similar, I feel, to maybe like Midnight Library and that kind of concept. This one had also very mixed reviews, so I'm not sure what to expect exactly, but I want to try things out for myself because I am known to dislike things that other people love and then love things that other people not necessarily love. So just because the reviews are quite mixed doesn't necessarily mean that I will not like it. The next book is called The Memory Police. I do think that the name is a little bit funny. It does not make me take it seriously, but it does sound interesting. It seems to be like a, again, dystopian, utopian kind of novel and speculative about people who get taken away and then everyone soon forgetting about it because it's called like a disappearing. It says, when a young novelist discovers that her editor is in danger of being taken away by the memory police, she desperately wants to save him. For some reason, he doesn't forget and it's becoming increasingly difficult for him to hide his memories. Who knows what will vanish next? Then we have The Seep. On the back it says, Trina Goldberg Oneka is a 50-year-old trans woman whose life is irreversibly altered in the wake of a gentle but nonetheless world-changing invasion by an alien entity called the Seep. Through the Seep, everything is connected. Capitalism falls, hierarchies and barriers are broken down. If something can be imagined, it is possible. Trina and her wife Deba live blissfully under the Seep's utopian influence until Deba begins to imagine what it might be like to be reborn as a baby, which will give her the chance at an even better life. Using Seep tech to make this dream a reality, Deba moves on to the next existence, leaving Trina devastated. Heartbroken and deep into an alcoholic binge, Trina follows a lost boy she encounters embarking on an unexpected quest. In her attempt to save him from the Seep, she will confront not only one of its most avid devotees, but the terrifying void that Deba has left behind. A strange new elegy of love and loss. The Seep explores grief, alienation, and the ache of moving on. And it sounds really beautiful. It actually has the blurb from Jeff Vandermeer saying that it's mesmerizing. Really excited. I actually clicked on this because of the cover, not gonna lie. And then when I read about it, it sounded really cool. Then I have the last one in this particular category. It's called The Deep. This is a fairly short book, and it's a story about Yitu, who holds the memories of her people. The people are water-dwelling descendants of pregnant African slave women thrown overboard by slave owners who live idyllic lives in the deep. So their past is too traumatic for all of them to remember, so the memories are actually only kept in one of the dwellers called the historian, and this role unfortunately went to Yitu, and it's very overwhelming and it's very painful. So she decides to actually go to the land to get a little bit of a break from thinking about that, I'm assuming. Escaping the memories, the expectations, and the responsibilities, and discovers a world her people left behind long ago. I'll just quickly mention some non-fictions that I picked up. The first one is The Habits. Pretty self-explanatory. It's a little book about the habits and how presumably you form them and advice on presumably keeping them. The other one is called The Dip. I believe this is a short one about when it's actually strategically better to decide to nip out of a project without trying to continue it for too long, just for it to go nowhere, or when it is still worthy to continue. I think that's the idea. I'm not sure what the execution is, obviously, because I've not read these. The next one is The Outliers, The Story of Success. This is the author's research on why some people are geniuses and why some people achieve something extreme and extraordinary, looks at everyone from rock stars to scientific geniuses to show what the story of success is far more surprising and inspiring than we ever imagined. So that just sounded like fun. Another one is 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. This seems to be a collection of what it looks like almost maybe 21 essays on things to keep in mind while living. It says truly mind expanding, ultra topical, and dazzling. On the back it says, how can we protect ourselves from unclear war or ecological catastrophe? What do we do about the epidemic of fake news or the threat of terrorism? How should we prepare our children for the future? And similar things. This comes in 5 parts, and the actual topics are disillusionment, work, liberty, equality, community, civilization, nationalism, religion, immigration, terrorism, war, humility, God, secularism, ignorance, justice, post-truth, science fiction, education, meaning, and meditation. So this is actually quite long. It's like 400 pages. And the last one in this one is Women Don't Own You Pretty. This is, I think, pretty much just like a little bit of a challenging any outdating aspects of your life and maybe something that you didn't think about that still affects you by the patriarchy, and making sure that you challenge that within yourself, and also from and you're a bit more aware for the outside as well. The reason I picked this up is because on TikTok I've seen some quotes and some of them were quite cool. It has like illustrations as well, which is pretty cool. And I'm pretty excited to get into it, and what a snazzy cover. This one doesn't quite fit into any other category, I don't think. It's just a fantasy. I think people were like kind of talking about it as if it's horror, but then I heard it's not actually horror, and it's best if you don't go into it thinking that way. But it's called The Year of the Witching, and it seems to be following a character who follows the holy protocol, goes to the church, but then discovers, I think, a lost journal, the diary of her dead mother, and then fascinated by the secrets and goes into a little bit of exploring of that, just to then realize that a lot of things, I'm assuming, were a lie, and that the prophets and their history is revealed. So Emmanuel understands that what must be done for the real threat to Bethel is its own darkness. Let's see the cover. Oh, it's actually white with silver foil. I think this has been floating around. I'm probably quite late to the party, so you probably have seen this before, but new to me. So now let's move on to the school settings. I have quite a few in this one. The Queen of Blood is one that I've not really seen much about, but it sounds really cool because it seems to be an adult epic fantasy about a forest that wants to get rid of people. Basically, the forest is where the magic resides, but it compares to the Warded Man, Uprooted, and the lyricism of the Name of the Wind, so obviously. And then it seems to be that some of the girls are taught magic in this school academy, I'm not quite sure, are raised as heirs, but they have different claims. I don't quite know. And just kind of sounds fun and badass. In the continued fashion of G is very late to the train. We have The Summoner. So this series is following Fletcher, who is an orphan, and he's training to be a blacksmith when he discovers that he has a very rare ability of being able to summon demons? Demons. And then he's sent to the Vulcan's Academy, and he's being taught there, and then has to prepare for the end of year tournament, which I also love a good tournament, so a win-win. But obviously there's also sinister forces and the rivalries, and he has to decide where his loyalties lie, with the fate of the empire in his hands, the huge, but it sounds fun. This one's a bit of a random one, for me at least, and it's called Give the Dark My Love. All it says on the back is, I saw death itself, it was a feral thing, made of smoke and shadow, it was hollow and empty and hungry. From what I gathered, this is definitely set in a kind of like a school setting, but there's also like darker stuff happening, including, I think, necromancy. Has a blur from Carrie Maniscalco on the back, and so I think this is a YA, but from what I've read from the reviews, it seems like it's a bit darker, which I always like that. Then this is a chunker of 730 pages, which I did not Did not notice when I was buying that. It's called Blood Song, and this, Valen Al-Sorna is the 6th Order's newest recruit. Under their brutal training regime, he learns how to forge a blade, survive the wilds, and kill a man quickly and quietly, all in the name of protecting the realm and the faith. Now his skills will be put to the test. War is coming. Valen must draw upon the very essence of his strength and cunning if he is to survive the coming conflict. Yet as the world teeters on the edge of chaos, Valen will learn that the truth can cut deeper than any sword. I'm excited nonetheless. However, seeing how chonky this is, I have actually quite a few other chonkers that I probably will try and read before I get to this, so this might not be anytime soon, but again, let me know if you've read this. And then the last 3 are actually the middle grade books that I'm trying to venture out in. I've only read a couple of middle grades, and as much as I would love to love it, as much as I obviously loved Harry Potter growing up, I don't know if it's because I was reading it as I was growing up and it was just like a different kind of relationship that I had with that, and I don't think anything can really replace it. But then I tried Percy Jackson and I wasn't in love with it from the first book at least, and then not really intrigued to continue, I'm sorry. Then another thing was The City of Bones. No, that's not it. The City of Ghosts. The City of Ghosts by V. Schwab. Again, it was like, okay, but I really want to give it a go, especially this one because everyone's speaking about it, and also I obviously have some close friends that really love middle grade, and I would love to participate in that, but we'll see how it goes. The one I have the most hopes for is the Nevermore. The Trials of Morgan Crow. This seems to be a story. So on the back it says Morgan Crow is cursed, destined to die on her 11th birthday, but as the clock strikes midnight, she's whisked away by a remarkable man called Jupiter North and taken to the secret city of Nevermore. There, she's invited to join the wondrous society. Mystery, magic, and the protection are hers if she can only pass 4 impossible trials using an exceptional talent, which she doesn't have. I love trials, so I mean, this is promising. One that I'm really excited is because it's by the author that I love, is The Arithmetist by Brandon Sanderson. This seems to be a very, again, like he builds like very unique concepts and unique worlds, and this seems to be about, I think you draw chalk circles and then summon things, and there's definitely a magic school and professors, or you bring the chalk-drawn creatures to life. And I think this is technically a middle grade as well, so I'm very excited. It's also floppy. Extra points. And then with the final one, I feel like this is way too many. Like, what have I done? What have I done? Oh, actually, I got the Sarah J. Maas book as well, the continuation to Court of Mist and Fury and stuff. I don't quite know when I'm gonna get to it, but I got that one too. I also have The Keeper of the Lost Cities. So I've seen some people loving them, like Reagan from Peruse Project. She seems to love it, but then my friends, both Gav and Jade, don't. So I don't know what to think, but it sounds quite fun. Sophie's a telepath and can hear thoughts and everyone around her. A mysterious boy who also reads minds. She discovers there's somewhere she does belong, and so I'm assuming they're going to this magical world and there's a school. So, you know, obviously there's a school. That's the whole point why I bought some of these books. Those are the books. Would I have gone as crazy if I just didn't imply this rule that I can't get new books when I'm not in the Avatar state? I don't know. Maybe we'll see the next time. I think I just caught myself in a time when I was like, you know what? Let's treat myself. Clearly I did, but hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you've read any of these and if you like them, if you think I would like them. Let me know if any of these caught your attention and you're maybe adding them to your TBR to find in a library or to get. Thank you so much for watching. Stay awesome, stay kind. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!